QR code， 左边的 QR code 呢是我们的乘法本，右边的 QR code 是我们的回馈单。那可以写一些回馈的话给我们呢，谢谢。
Greetings, I'm Ellie.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Joanna.
First, we want to thank all of the guests to join us today. 13 girls,
13 personalities.
13 different youth.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to thirTEENS!
First, we would like to invite our director, Huang Yubo 主任, to give us a speech.
好，各位，我们女子班赵学涂老师，我们特善的老师吴老师，还有佳慧老师，还有在场所有的老师以及各位家长，特别是今天还有远道而来南洋女中的陈老师、尤老师，还有所有南洋女中的同学们，大家好。放心，我是今天唯一会用中文讲话的人。那今天校长因为他有事情没有办法其实到现场来，但是特别交代我今天一定要来好好的简单的做一个开场。女子班这是第11届的女子班，女子班已经变成了我们学校一个非常重要非常的一个有意义的一个班级。那我们也是台北市，我不知道我们的同学知不知道，你们是台北市唯一一个这样的语文自由班，因为我们是双语自由班。是国文组跟英文组，所以我们今天下午有一场，其实明天还有一场的成果发表会。每年到这个时候来参加这个发表会，心里头有很多的感触。因为其实女子班走了11年，我们怎么样让他们走到这个阶段，其实都经过了无数位的老师、无数位的学姐，经过一次又一次锻炼，以及我们设计成我们现在这样的课程。我们一起走过偏向服务学习。我们一起走过大陆之旅，我们一起经历过最严苛的高2下。我知道大家最近都为了这个成果发表会，不管是英文组还是国文组，我们都付出了我们绝对不会后悔的努力。这一刻是大家的，这一刻值得为自己喝彩。经过这一天晚上，经过今天下午所有的表演以及明天，我相信你都将变成更好的自己。以上，谢谢大家。
让我们感谢林诗恩老师、陈柏婷老师、刘威成老师、许佩珍老师、吕翠萍老师、张丽晶老师、吴欣怡老师 and Joseph Eyes. Please be ready for a bouquet. 感谢所有老师的耐心指导。
Now, let the show begin. I don't want to own anything until I found a place where me and things belong together.
I'm not quite sure what it is just yet, but I know what it's like. It's like Tiffany's.
Good afternoon. Today,
I'd like to introduce my favorite lady of all time to you from the story, Breakfast at Tiffany's. First of all, I'm really into oldies and vintage stuff. And what I like Holly the most is that even though she's restricted by life, she makes a breakthrough instead of breaking down. When I first stepped into this time machine bound for 1950s America, I saw Holly as people nowadays who are often restricted by marriage, or don't know where they belong, or even who they are. Sometimes she gets confused, but just like we all do, we're afraid of the unknown, afraid of leaving comfort zone, afraid of making mistakes. But life is a journey to be experienced, not a problem to be solved. So let's find out more about Holly, shall we? If you think this is a cliche rom-com, they are certainly wrong. Everything started with the writer Paul as narrator of the story, which told in flashback. He recalls his day in New York City, and he befriends a mysterious neighbor, Holly Golightly, and found himself drawn into a superficial world. He enjoyed watching her at trendy restaurants and nightclubs around town. He loves watching her playing country songs on her guitar from the fire escape window. As the day passed, they eventually fall in love. But, however, Holly hides out and panics, refusing to make commitment because she has never believed in the so-called happily ever after. She never wants to be tied down to anyone or any place. Despite calling her a wild thing, a free spirit, she's terrified that someone is gonna stick her in a cage. But in fact, she's already in that cage where she built herself. Wherever she goes, wherever she runs, she just ends up running to herself. She has always been a dream come true for most of the men, but in the meantime, she's also a ruthless heartbreaker. Who loves New York? Who loves New York? A young repeated lover, though the city doesn't always treat her nice. Instead of being a redneck trouble roommate Barnes upbringing in rural Texas, Holly revents herself into a city girl who strives for fashion and wealth, spends days sleeping and nights at Glover night spot in the company of men, some of whom might give her money. By changing her name to Holly, she almost achieved her ideal life. But almost never enough. Hence, she turns herself to a city girl, a hot chick who gots a lot on the street, and has men giving her anything she wants the minute they see her. She climbs up on social ladders. She climbs on social ladder and even commits to marrying wealthy Brazilian men that she doesn't even like. Nowadays, women work for themselves, make their own money, settle in the marriage of their own choices. However, during the 1950s, women are often restricted by marriage. A divorce almost unheard of at that time. They were expected to live largely homebound and taking care of the household chores. Different from those housewives, the woman doesn't have to do any house work, but still, having more freedom than other women doesn't stop her from leaving. Well, have you ever thought of dying and dashing your own life? Or do you have the guts to flee to a complete unfamiliar country just to get away from the old you? Nobody knows about Holly past until her husband shows up in a flash and talks about how Lulu May started her walking down the country road. Every day, she'll walk a little further, a mile, and then come home. 2 miles, and come home. One day, she just keeps on. Never give your heart to a wild thing, he said. The more you do, the stronger that gets, until you're strong enough to run into the woods, or fly into a tree, and then to a higher tree, and then to the sky. But Holly abandoned her old name and traveled alone to a brand new city. She achieved female independence through escaping from marriage and come to represent the soul of mid-century New York City. All in all, Holly has a strong image of an independent woman who is free to go anywhere she wants or do what her heart desires. In a disregard for the conventions of the polite society, Holly is something of an avatar, the liberated woman of 60s and 70s. She lives in the dark like an untamable wild thing. She sparkles like a Tiffany diamond. She's pure as New York snow. She is Holly Golightly, the meaning of her own existence, and I hope you like her as much as I do. Thank you and have a nice day.
I'm Alicia, and I'm going to tell you that... Oh, excuse me. Oh, hey, Joanna. You want to hang out tonight?
Hey, Lee. Well, sorry, I can't go out with you tonight.
Oh, really? Okay. Why not?
A woman walked past me. Her nose and eyes look perfect. I think I should get the same look, so I made an appointment with the AD clinic. Oh, it's my turn now. Let me call you back.
Wait, what? Okay, such a weird, right? I mean, why do people want to look alike? However, it's a common phenomenon in South Korea. South Korea is not only famous for its K-pop culture, but for its plastic surgery industry. In 2014, a survey conducted by the International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery showed that South Korea ranks first all over the world, with over 980,000 times of plastic surgeries being done. I was shocked by the great number, so I've been trying to find a proper explanation for this phenomenon. In my presentation, I'm going to talk about the reasons for such craze of beauty industry first. Then, I will talk about a revolution that just takes place in South Korea. According to my research, there are three main reasons. One is the historical factor. Another is the patriarchy. The other is mass media. First, let's talk about the historical factor. During the Korean War from 1950 to 1953, an American plastic surgeon, Dr. Ralph Miller, he went to South Korea to have the residents to do the orthoplasty. It's a kind of reconstructive surgery to improve one's appearance. However, he then instilled in the residents that they could only improve their own country by changing their appearance to look like the Westerners. A doctor from such a dominating country was so influential that many Koreans just bought into his idea. Some Korean residents took the surgeries. To their surprise, the attitude of many Americans toward them had changed. Some Americans even mistook those who had undergone surgeries as Mexicans or Italians because of their bigger eyes and double eyelids. Based on the phenomenon, more and more Korean people decided to take the surgery. The purpose of people undergoing surgery had gradually changed from improving their own country to improve their self-esteem or image. The second reason is the patriarchy of South Korea. In the nation, the status of women is much lower than that of men. In fact, it could be attributed to the patriarchy in South Korea. The following is a common scenario. Mrs. Choi, who is a conservative housewife in South Korea, after she got married, she is busy taking care of her husband, of her child and family. I'm sorry.
And recently, her husband seems to have an affair. Oh my God. To win her husband back, Mrs. Choi decided to take a plastic surgery. After she becomes beautiful, her husband may come back to her. You see that? While encountering this type of issue, women tend to correct themselves by changing their appearance to please others. Nowadays, the phenomenon still exists in Korean society. Women with better appearance will have more opportunity to be hired when seeking for jobs. Thus, many parents have been saving a large amount of money since their daughter was little. Remember the first reason? People undergo the surgery for the purpose of improving their own country, but later, their purpose had gradually changed to improve their own lives. Nowadays, more and more Korean women take the surgery not for their husband, but for themselves. The third reason is the mass media. Thanks to the technological innovation, the influence of mass media has become more profound. The cosmetic industry also takes use of the mass media to attract their customers or just sell the idea. Beauty first. Whether you are at a subway station, on buses, or in any other places in public, you can easily find the ads of the aesthetic clinics here and there. The cosmetic surgery also takes use of the resource of TV programs. For example, Let Beauty, an aesthetic program produced by South Korea a few years ago, talks about patients with severe problems with their outlooks. It presented the entire process of someone undergoing the surgery, including the procedure of the surgery, the recovery, and the amazing contrast between the old and the new life that person had. In the program, the message is clear. Your quality of life will be changed, will be improved, if you got your appearance fixed. The standard beauty in South Korea is deeply influenced by its history, patriarchy, and mass media. Koreans believe that if they got a better appearance, they will lead a better life or get more people's attention. However, a revolution that just takes place in South Korea is likely to reverse its standard beauty. To many people's surprise, a famous YouTuber that used to teach people makeup skills, she posted a video titled, "I'm Not Pretty" on YouTube. In the video, she removed her makeup step by step. She said she was also insulted by many netizens because of her clear face. Despite the vicious criticism, she still makes efforts to pass her message. Don't let others define you. Only you can define yourself. After that, many Korean girls joined this movement. They destroyed a lot of cosmetics, cut their long hair that used to be considered a symbol of beauty. They then post their results on the Instagram with a hashtag. It means escape the corset in Korean. These chain of activities not only brings the possibility of the flipping of standard beauty in South Korea, but also represents the new girl power in the nation. After realizing that their value isn't built on how others view them, but how they view themselves, women in Korea declare that they are going to be the person they want to be. Today, at here, I'm going to send this message not only to all of you, but to myself. Beauty starts from our own hearts, not from others. Thank you.
Thanks for Alicia sharing. From her presentation, we can know that even for people who chase good look on the outside, they still have their conscience inside their minds.
Coming up next, more stories behind pursuing good. What's inside a hoarder's house? Let's welcome the next presenter, Angel!
I believe that you are a little bit tired. Me too. So, it's your turn to give a presentation. I'll give you 30 seconds to think about your house. What does it look like? Then, I'll pick 3 of you to come up and share. Just kidding. But honestly, how many of you are familiar with this kind of messy drawer or messy room? Please raise your hand. I appreciate all of your honesty. Congratulations. I can tell confidently that you are not hoarders. Hoarders are those who tend to keep all the things whether they really need them or not. Yes, I mean all the things. I know it looks as if there's no place to live, but don't worry. Hoarders can always find your place. See? Then, what will cause hoarding? There are 6 reasons. First, a person's background, especially their childhood experience. How their parents treat their children will affect what the hoarders think and what they do later in their lives. For example, some dramatic changes, such as parental death or divorce and so forth, might cause negative effects on them. Second, how parents educate their children will also affect their personality. According to Freud, people with hoarding behaviors have problems with their personality development in the anal period. The anal stage is the second stage in Freud's theory of psychosexual development. It occurs when the child is 1 to 2 years old. The anus is the main erogenous zone and delight derived from controlling bladder and defecation. However, excuse me. Hoarders tend to have some specific personality traits. For example, they are mean and stubborn. They value possessing tangible items and have intangible sustenance. Getting these items and saving them makes the hoarders feel a sense of security. The third reason is cognition. Cognition is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. The research shows that there are 4 distinct cognitive factors, including memory, control, responsibility, and attachment. For example, the more responsible or controlling the hoarders are, the more they depend on the items. Also, some mental illnesses might also bring about hoarding, such as obsessive-compulsive disorder, dementia, or bipolar disorder. And these mental illnesses have something to do with the next cause, which is trauma. A lot of people that have experienced trauma tend to develop hoarding issues. Because hoarding makes them feel safe, hoarding helps them to avoid excessive excitement and recurrence of symptoms. Hoarding is not only a symptom, but also a way to protect the victims themselves. The last cause for hoarding is emotion regulation. When a subject undergoes negative experiences, they are liable to hoarding objects, and the negative emotions will cause hoarding to worsen. On the other hand, hoarding seems to be a good way to control emotions. Do you think of anyone who has the problem of emotion regulation? Take them. Hoarding is more than just having lots of things. It's a specific type of behaviors that can have a severe impact on a person's life. So, let's explore more about hoarding treatments. Treatments for hoarding are still being researched and developed, but several promising elements have emerged as successful practice. First, cognitive behavioral therapy is a type of therapy that helps individuals to examine the way they think and behave, and to change the thought processes or behaviors that may be problematic. Second, skills training for hoarding focuses on helping people learn how to organize their belongings within their homes, how to use problem-solving methods to address common problems that arise in working under clutter, and how to make decisions about keeping needed items and removing unwanted objects that contribute to clutter. And the last, medication for hoarding works to change an individual's brain chemistry and activity. They can enable the individual to be more able to engage in their treatment process, whether by improving their mood or by reducing their severe anxiety. Sounds complex? Isn't it quicker to bring an excavator and clear out all the things in the hoarder's home? No, this will cause them to collapse. So we have to go back to where this all began. We have to change the mind of hoarders. And there are even medicines that can be used to treat hoarding. There's a reason behind every problematic behavior. It's important to understand why before we can find out a suitable way to make a change. At the end of my presentation, I would still want to say, even though we are not hoarders, we should keep our drawers clean. Thank you.
The only thing between you and your goal is the BS story you keep telling yourself as why you can't achieve it.
Also, pay close attention to those who don't clap when you win.
Hello everyone, my name is Sophie. My topic is Lessons from Greed, the life of the Wolf of Wall Street. I guess some of you have seen this movie, The Wolf of the Wall Street, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Today, I will talk about the real wolf in Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort is now an author and motivational speaker. When he was young, he was a stockbroker. Someone provided financial plans for investors. They can buy securities, bonds, warrants, and other derivative products on behalf of clients to obtain fees and commission income. As he worked as a stockbroker, he became a millionaire, but soon ended up in prison for two reasons. First, he attempted to manipulate the market. Market manipulation refers to a deliberate attempt to interfere in free and fair operation of the market. After got in touch with some of the insiders, Belfort got a chance to start a stock market. Second, he ran the boiler room. Boiler room operator often pretend to be financial companies and use fax address and real bank account to contact victims. This is a scam that uses high-pressure marketing methods to sell investor versus investments by phone, the net, or email. Once the victim's money is obtained, it will disappear, so that the investor will get divided return after payments. Though Jordan Belfort was just an ordinary operator then, he made more than $200 million. When hoping to reach the peak where there is no way back. The answer is greed. This psychological factor made him pursue more wealth even in an illegal way. In our general perception, greed is entirely negative and ultimately leads to bad consequences. It is derived from another common psychological phenomenon, which is called self-interest. Self-interest means people pursue their own interest or advantage, showing little regard for others. It is driven by psychological egoism and moral egoism. Personal interest is the ultimate goal of everyone, and in the meantime, according to moral egoism, self-interest makes us fear many of the responsibility to others. Now, let's check the relationship between rational behavior and self-interest. Based on the rational behavior theory, human beings will still act in predictable and reasonable way even if there are sufficient resources to meet all needs. It also balances the relationship between benefits and costs, so that people can maximize their own happiness and wealth. However, it is still possible that we can benefit others while we are pursuing our own interests. Meanwhile, we can gain a sense of satisfaction. This is the distinction between self-interest and greed. The initial idea of greed may come from early negative experience or trauma in childhood. For example, Jordan Belfort was born in a slum in New York. His parents had drink addiction, but this also put a lot of pressure on him. The environment will lead to inferiority as complex than rebellion of Belfort, and even be a reason for pursuit of material life and the crime of stock market fraud. If rational self-interest is a kind of psychological behavior within the scope of human control, then greed is extreme manifestation of self-interested behavior. Because of greed, people feel dissatisfied with the status quo of life and have a desire for better material life. This may lead to illegal behavior, and some may even ignore the rights of others. In the case of the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort focused on the wealth accumulation at the cost of other people's wealth. To a certain extent, a massive development of greed undermines social order. In most cases, greed is indeed a bad thing. While we can deny the effect of greed on economic development, because the entire advanced market does need greedy stimuli to reach rapid growth. But we can learn from Jordan Belfort that those are short-lived illusions, which often accompanied by a collapse of overall economic. So the impact of greed is a series of poverty, starting from individual and ending with the whole society. Under the control of greed, people's desire of wealth will only increase, because the interest and symbol of wealth will make us feel happy with ourselves. And this is one way we identify and maintain our core self-image. We are all eager to get something. This is human nature. So what I want to say is that as long as we are human beings and have individuality, greed won't disappear. Jordan Belfort will not be the last Wall Street wolf, and each of us is likely to do the same thing as he did, whether the result is serious or not. Therefore, we should not avoid greed, but learn not to blindly pursue it. Thank you.
will worry that they can't understand you or be inclusive. And they put on themselves preparing finance problems. You can't because we still got some things to do. But this doesn't mean that you can learn what you want. I think it's a really good chance to challenge yourself managing your time and do both of these stuff. After all, you'll get to hear.
I'm gonna build a great wall. And nobody builds walls better than me. Trust me, kids. And I'll build it very inexpensively. Mark my word again, child. Yeah. The wall that built by Qin Shi Huang is still here. Well, actually in China. However, this one hasn't been done yet.
America will start winning again, winning like never before. Let me tell you, I'm a really smart guy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the US President, Donald Trump! He's very dramatic, ambitious, and aggressive. His campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," successfully seized the hearts of the voters. But how is he going to make America great again? Through trade war. From his Twitter, we know that Trump blamed other nations for the unfairness. He wants to get the world right through an old traditional weapon called tariff. He even proudly named himself a tariff man. A tariff is a tax put on imported goods from other countries. The effect of tariff is to raise the price of import products. He used tariff as a weapon. It imposed high tariffs on many import products. The list can go on and on for 200 pages. Let me put it in this way. Those neighboring countries such as Canada and Mexico and rival countries such as China have tasted. Foreign imports of steel account for 1/3 of the US steel demand. The domestic production capacity is idle. President Trump imposed a 25% duty on steel and a 10% duty on aluminum. From Canada, Mexico, and China, he hopes to reduce the dependence on import metal and increase the domestic production capacity. And of course, these countries believe in an eye for an eye. Let's imagine, if a country keeps imposing tariff on the goods from your country, how would you react? What? I heard bully! They fight back with retaliatory tariff. It means if you impose high tariffs on my imports on the goods from my country, I'll take exactly the same measure to revenge. If all the countries are doing so to protect themselves, then foreign import products will become very expensive. If you are an American, you have to pay more for the flavored soybean milk drink from Japan, and so do the import cost from Germany. If you don't want to or you can't afford the higher price, you can only choose the products made in the US. With the expansion of global trade, the relations between countries have become more complicated. Trump's action resulted in tense relations among the US and other countries. When Donald Trump adopts this policy, treat or treat, trade or tariff, we can see that a gigantic protectionism wave is rising. What is protectionism? Protectionism is to shield domestic economy from foreign competition. Generally speaking, consumers will choose cheaper products. When foreign import products come in, they may adjust some domestic products. In addition, some companies may not be able to compete with international companies in terms of technology or skills. They may need more time to catch up or to develop their own technology. Proper protection guarantees enough consumers as well as time to develop. When the country builds walls on its borders or add limits on their import products, it gets time to learn how to produce it for itself. There are several ways that countries can use protectionism, but imposing tariff is a direct way to influence the price. And Trump is definitely not the first US president that was obsessed with tariffs. 90 years ago, it was a hard time. Even in America, many Americans couldn't find a job.
The market was booming. Almost half of the bank had gone bankrupt. There was a worldwide economic calamity back in the 1930s, the Great Depression. The U.S. Congress passed a smooth hauling tariff act signed by President Hoover. The tariff raised import duties on about 20,000 of import products to protect farmers and businessmen in the U.S. The government intended to encourage Americans to buy more domestic goods, increase government revenues, and protect farmers' interests by increasing the price of import products. Ultimately, they want to reduce the unemployment rate and revive the economy.
Does this sound familiar? Donald Trump had done almost the same thing.
The U.S. put retaliatory tariff from other nations. President Hoover overlooked an important part. The agricultural products in the U.S. are export-driven. They sell crops overseas and manufacturing products as well. As a result, the world trade has fallen sharply, which in turn worsened the Depression and is believed to have caused World War II. 90 years later, striving to regain the American greatness, the U.S. President Donald Trump is determined to extend prosperity and improve the quality of life for all Americans. He spares no effort to change the current pattern of world trade by setting up barriers. But before he fulfills his promise, he is creating trade wars. In trade wars, it seems that America is making more enemies than friends. Hoover's action caused retaliatory tariff, which has led to tense relations among nations. Donald Trump's actions also caused retaliatory tariffs, which has also led to tense relations among nations. Although it is unlikely that we'll have World War III, there's one thing for sure. With more doors closed and barriers set up, consumers will have fewer choices and have to pay more for the same product. And this is the price Americans have to pay for the American greatness. Thank you.
Sometimes I just can't handle it.
But sometimes we can.
Really? For example,
Let's welcome Catherine. She's going to introduce us a breakthrough in genetic engineering.
Your wish is my command. Though we don't have Aladdin's magic lamp, we do have specialized shops that offer customized services. Nowadays, there are some companies and businesses which customize cars, clothes, phone cases, and even furniture. But what if one day in the future we were able to customize our own babies? Impossible? No. It may turn into reality thanks to the technology called cluster regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, or CRISPR. In short, that is gene editing. With this technology, parents don't need to worry that their children may inherit genetic disease, because it can be prevented even before a baby is born. A few years ago, Jennifer Doudna, an American biochemist and also a professor in the University of California, Berkeley, invented a new technology for editing genomes with her colleague. It is called CRISPR-Cas9. It enables scientists to make changes to the DNA in cells. This technology allows us to cure genetic disease, such as HIV, even before a baby is born. It's incredible, right? Actually, it came about through a basic research project that was aimed at discovering how bacteria fight viral infections. Bacteria have to deal with viruses in their environment, and we can think of a viral infection as a ticking time bomb. Therefore, bacteria have only a few minutes to defuse the bomb before it gets destroyed. So many bacteria have in their cells an adaptive immune system called CRISPR, which can detect viral DNA and destroy it. Part of its system is a protein called Cas9, which is able to seek out and eventually degrade viral DNA in a specific way. With this discovery, Jonah and her colleague realized that they could harness its function as a genetic engineering technology, the way for the scientists to delete or insert specific bits of DNA into cells with incredible precision. Also, it would offer opportunities to add genes that have never been possible in the past. When CRISPR came all over the world, all the scientists decided to use this carefully, especially not on humans. But guess what? In 2018, a Chinese scientist, He Jiankui, has successfully added the gene of twins and explained his surgery procedure in the conference publicly. It was a shocking news. He used in vitro fertilization in the process of gene surgery. IVF is to take out both mom's egg and dad's sperm and fertilize together outside of their body. Then the scientists will use microinjection to send Cas9 into the fertilized egg to kill the protein called CCR5, which is a receptor for HIV. By cutting it off, baby will not inherit HIV from their parents anymore. Finally, the world's first genetically edited twins were born. His surgery has aroused great controversy around the world, followed by many fierce debates. There are two main reasons for which most of the scientists oppose this action. First, they think that if this technology is used all over the world, people may create a Superman that has never existed before. Also, parents may have the chance to design their perfect baby, and it may confuse people's value. Second, what if the scientists cut a wrong gene? It may result in a deformed baby, or the flawed gene will be inherited by future generations. Although He Jiankui claimed that he already had the skill to check the gene in the baby's body, people are still suspicious of it. With all of the reasons above, most of the scientists disagree to use this technology on humans. I can't help but wonder, with CRISPR, how many genetic diseases can we avoid? Does a healthy body always lead to a perfect life? Then I watched a program and was impressed by an artist named Esther Fox. She was born as a disabled person that couldn't walk. Once she said, "I have a very full life, work full-time, and I'm lucky and I'm happy to live a rich social life with friends and family." There are some people that are not lucky enough to have these things even if they don't have genetic illness. Also, I think my disability is part of my identity because it taught me resilience, creative problem solving, and the way to communicate with diverse people. And I wouldn't change that. To her, it was not important whether she was disabled or not. She did not think her life was limited because of her defect. So she refused to have gene editing because she felt satisfied with her life now. I was touched by her courage and optimism. But if I were Esther Fox's parents and I had the chance to give my baby daughters a healthy body, I would have taken risks and let her undergo CRISPR. I admit that it has a lot of risks and it can be abused. But we cannot stop technology from improving. Maybe it's part of our evolutionary process. So I think that governments should have imposed a clear laws before it is made legal, and scientists should have a guideline on gene editing. The application of this technology is broad. So if we use this properly, it can be the answer to many health problems that are plaguing our world. Thank you.
does not kill us, makes us stronger.
God is
Stop pretending to be initiate. You don't know anything about him. Let me tell you the real philosophy of Nietzsche.
okay. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Ellie. Today, I would like to talk about Nietzsche and the Nietzschean spirit. Well, I know through all these English presentations are tiring, so I'll try to keep it simple. Now, think of a strong person. The definition of strong is up to you. Just think of a person who can be described with the word strong. It can be anyone. Maybe your mom, your dad, your idol, or maybe a friend of yours. Then, think closely. How are they like? How are their personality like? Are they brave, clever, positive? Any word that you can think of is made for them. Then, think of yourself. Think of when you meet a problem and feeling frustrated. When you don't feel like the strong person at all. When all the words you just think of doesn't belong to you. Think of your darkest times. During these kinds of times, this is what you might hear. It's alright. Don't give up. When God closes the door, He opens the window. Aw, don't cry. Stay strong. Stay positive. All these words make me think. People always mention being positive all the time to cheer people up and trying to let people out the depression zone. But when we are on our hardest times, let's just admit, it's hard to be positive all the time. So I was thinking, is there a possibility that people don't have to be positive to be strong? They can be strong even they're negative. They don't think of the bright side of things. Instead of that, they think of the dark side. They don't always feel productive to solve problems. Instead of that, they just stop for a while. Maybe it still sounds vivid for now, so it's story time! Yay! Once upon a time, there's someone that always shines. It's Mr. Sun. He's everyone's role model when going down, because he never gives up. One day, Mr. Sun met a big wall during his walk. He thought, how can I get through? Oh, I got it. Maybe I can punch the wall as hard as I can so it'll break out a hole. Or maybe I can climb it to get over it. Or I can just take another road. Aha! Not that hard, isn't it? Things are in control. Seems in control, isn't it? Here comes Mr. Wine. Well, he's already been drunk since morning because of the nice wine he got yesterday at bar. After he came to thirTEENS and heard a bunch of excellent English presentations, he decided to go to the bar again for his uselessness. But on his way, he also met a great wall blocking the way. He stopped, giving the wall a look. Alright, so things are getting tough, huh? Meh, life again. It's sunset always. Now maybe I should just sit down with this wall and feel the sadness since I cannot get to the bar when this comes up. Oh, I want to cry. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Well, I still have to go to the bar anyway, so maybe I'll just take it out. At the end, Mr. Sun and Mr. Wine all got through the troubled brick wall. Story ends here. The story alone actually shows two kinds of personalities in Greek mythology, which is Apollo and Dionysius. And it's been used in Nietzsche's philosophy. There's Apollo, and here's Dionysius. As we can see, obviously, Mr. Sun is just like Apollo. Confident, stable, hopeful, positive. When Mr. Wine is just like Dionysius, more emotional,
enjoys good wine, know how life is when he met a problem but still shed tears. Nietzsche had met a bunch of great walls during his life. His father died when he's still little. He spent his sad times in the forest instead of people around him. He got several illnesses when he's still a young man. He got refused by girls and hadn't got married for his whole life. And died at the age of 55. Nietzsche was a miserable life. As a pessimistic, his philosophy is based on Mr. Wine, the wine god Dionysius, who likes to celebrate with wine made of grapes during the harvest season, and like to get drunk to celebrate life with different kinds of happiness and sadness. So this is how Dionysian spirit comes out. Dionysian spirit is a kind of thinking method. In other terms, it means oneself having consciousness in any kind of stages by using rational thinking. In other words, it's a game between humanality, and the great nature, or to say, the nature of life. It's like knowing oneself drunk while drinking and knowing oneself imagining while dreaming. Well, it might still sound difficult for now, so here's some examples to make it simpler. For the girl students, this might get to you. You love your idol so much, so think of you and them all day. But you know it's on your mind though, so even imagine kissing them all day is okay too. Or for the audience, this might get to you. After feeling bored of all these English presentations, you guys decided to pander to the sleepiness and doze off, hoping all the boredom will be skipped after you wake up. Don't wake up, please. Or some kinds of situations, Dionysian spirit get useful too. Like when during weekends, you decide to give yourself a break, even though there's still tons of work to do, and enjoy your free time. Or for some artists or people who like artwork, I like artwork. You think too much through depression, some kinds of situations like this, and so you decided to use the power of monotony and turn it into artworks. So all kinds of situations above, even their attitudes aren't always positive. They still use rational thinking to consider their own status and continue in life, where it's supposed to have different kinds of happiness and sadness, have ups and downs, not only for fate, but also for human beings, for ourselves. So now, let's return to the weak self again. Everyone knows feeling sad is hard, but having depression, feeling down, or don't feel productive isn't a bad thing after all, since it's part of life, and it's the nature of human beings too. So next time, you don't have to always be the Mr. Sun. Instead of that, you can just be Mr. Wine. Be drunk, but still be rational, by holding down Misha's hand. Thank you.
Although we don't have wine, we do prepare some snacks for you guys. Let's have a 15-minute break.
现在开始休息15分钟。